Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. It's episode 68. Gumbo Live, the #1 Facebook Live talk show dedicated to board gaming. My special guest tonight, Dominic Crapuchettes from Northstar, the Northstar designer of Evolution, Say Anything, and Wits Wages. We'll be talking about his brand new expansion for Evolution out on Kickstarter pretty soon. It's called Oceans. Board Game Gumbo is a member of Punchboard Media. Check out our other fine members like Open Seat Gaming, Marty, Scott, Sarah. They've got a great blog that focuses on ensuring that everyone in the board game hobby has a seat at the table. Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table. Hit us up on social media tonight, at Twitter on Board Game Gumbo, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Board Game Gumbo, and we'll be looking for your questions in the chat. But hey, enough blather. Let's get right to our special guest. Dominic, welcome to the show.
Hey, nice to be here. How are you doing, BJ?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to have you here. I'd love to know, though, I know you've heard this before, the elevator pitch, probably many, many times from designers. Who is Dominic Crapuchettes, and what is Northstar Games?
Dominic Crapuchettes. I am a previous captain of a fishing boat who threw all that behind to not earn a lot of money in the board game industry. Started Northstar Games in 2003. And I've designed, like you say, Wits Wages, Say Anything, Evolution, and the upcoming standalone Oceans, which is the next game in the Evolution series. But it's a standalone. It's a different system. It just uses the same ecosystem-based, concept where your species are evolving.
And you said you were a fishing boat captain. Is that right?
Mais oui.
The reason I ask is I didn't realize you and I had something in common. I did find this picture. I found this picture. I found this picture on the Northstar Games website, and I'm like, could this be Dominic? And the reason I say that is because, so I was in a band a long, long time ago, back in the 90s. And when I was in a band, one of the guys that used to come watch our shows was a friend of the lead singer, and he started a company called Raising Cane's. I don't know if you've ever eaten at Raising Cane's, the chicken finger place.
Heard of it.
He had to get the money. He went to like 15 banks, and they all turned him down. They said, you can't just sell chicken fingers. McDonald's sells hamburgers, chicken, blah, blah. You can't just sell chicken fingers. So he left for Alaska, and he worked on a fishing boat for 2 summers and saved up every dollar he had. And I was like, wow, what a connection. You guys did the same thing, basically.
I did the same thing, except I saved up every dollar that I had and went and put myself through school, and then had no money and lots of debt, and then I started the company.
And then you started the company, Northstar Games. But if I remember right, that is where you got the name Northstar. Is that right?
Yep. That's a throwback to my fishing days. Yeah, every year of my life since I was 2, I went up and spent the summer up in Alaska fishing on my dad's boat, my mom's setting at site, and so, yeah, the name, I mean, there were a lot of other names I looked for. That is one where the URL existed for Northstar Games and had the good tie-in that I liked.
Well, look, chat crew, if I look a little nervous, it's only because this is 68 episodes, and I've never, not once, had somebody who did a TED Talk on my show. Now, come on, that's for anybody that grew up with the YouTube generation, that makes me a little nervous now. Are you going to start with a long soliloquy, and I might just sit back and say, let's learn. So how did this come up? How did this come about?
So I was asked to speak. I think I forget what the topic was, but kind of the future of technology and how it's going to, what the impact is going to be on your industry. And, someone that I knew was hosting it and asked if I could speak.
Judging by the comments from the YouTube video, your talk was how in 5 years, board gaming will be digital only. But I saw your comment. You explained yourself very well. That the comments, they misread your TED Talk completely. You were talking about the disruption that digital is going to have for the board game industry, and also about how people that think of board game designers in the past, these nameless, faceless board games that came out, it's a whole different hobby now. And we celebrate now the designer, whereas 30 years ago, you had no idea who designed Payday, right?
That was the biggest part, yes. Yeah. The comments in YouTube videos sometimes are a little bit off kilter. If you watch the whole thing, I never said in 5 years. So in my head, in 50 years. And I still believe it. I mean, it has to move in the direction where we're going to provide great content at cheaper prices. Like, it's just the direction things will move, even if we're playing face to face.
Sure.
They thought I meant like literally we're all hanging out, and playing on phones in our bed or our basement all alone, which is not what I was talking about.
I own Takinoko. I own Tokaido, for instance. I played 17 games of Tokaido in 2018. I know because my board game stats app. Out of the 17, 16 were digital that I played with the producer of the show, Steve O'Rourke. We just kept playing over and over on Board Game Arena. But I own the game. It's just Steve lives in New York and I live in Louisiana. The only way we get to play, and it's fun, we get to play on Board Game Arena. The other night, I got to teach him Concordia, and what a blast! We
digitally.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's never
write this down.
Yeah, he's never played it.
I've never played it.
Well, I own it. I actually have the game, so I had the rules next to me just to make sure I got everything correct. But we played it on which one is it? Boîte de jeu. Boîte de jeu.
Oh la la!
Yeah, Boîte de jeu. Yeah, look it up.
That's a board game company.
But they have they also have a website dedicated to online gaming.
Oh.
And they have Concordia on there.
We are looking at a game from them right now, I think.
Really? Oh,
Clash of Rage.
Well, Clash and Rage go together. I mean, when you think about it, right? Hey, here's Verla checking in. Verla is from the Gateway and Filler Games group and has been on the show before. Nice, she says. I never did that kind of fishing, but she grew up in Alaska. Look at all the connections we've got here.
Nice.
Sean says YouTube comments are a bit off, but Facebook Live comments are pure gold. That is right, Sean. The comments from the chat crew, you're going to be amazed, Dominic. You are going to be amazed. So yeah, I got your point, even though they didn't. I do think that digital is gonna change the way we play games. I do think that.
Let me actually. I'm trying to remember. This was a long time ago, maybe 10 years or close to it. I was talking about face-to-face games the whole time. So I'm talking about a transformation at some point, just like digital books. I'd like hardcover books have started moving towards digital books. I'm just saying the direction, the long-term trend of our industry is going to be towards consuming face-to-face games, either in the living room with the board, with the TV, or around the kitchen table, or wherever, but digitally, because it's just less expensive and it's easier to transport and it's easier to store, and you don't have to go to the store to buy it. You just push buy.
Absolutely, your entire game closet or game shelf on your tablet, right? It's going to happen someday.
Yeah.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guest here, Dominic Crapuchettes from Northstar Games, and I didn't realize we had something else in common. We did, and this one is serious. Back in 94 or 95, I was second place at the Grand Mamou $5 Magic the Gathering tournament, and I just found out you were second place. You were second place. Oh, come on. It's not going to come up. I can't believe this. I've got a picture of it.
The New York Pro Tour.
The New York Pro Tour. And it's not going to show up. Dang it. I can't believe this. I told you Facebook was having some problems tonight, and this was one of the ones the pictures were not quite working. Well, I do have a picture. What was it like? I know what it was like for me to come out second place in the Grand Mamou $5 Magic tournament, which, by the way, was held at the prestigious Exxon Quick Stop. We had plastic tables that were set out. Not quite as prestigious as your tournament, but still, I think we have a connection there, right?
We have a connection. We both took second.
And you played against a great player. So
John Finkel. So John Finkel. He is one of the greatest. Yeah, it's no shame to lose to him. I wish you had a picture of me, though, because I was a lot more beautiful back then. I mean, I was really good looking. And all we have now is this to show for it. So, Facebook Live is killing me.
It's killing me right now because none of the pictures are coming up. That is going to really... Are you seeing any pictures right now?
Punchboard Media.
That's it, huh? Boy, I can't believe this. Yep. So I don't have any pictures. We'll see if Facebook is going to correct itself. I told you before we started the show that Facebook was really acting weird. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Sometimes this does go on, but it's a live show and we got to deal with it. So next up on the list, I was talking to there's a guy that's coming on in our a show next week, Brian Surrey. Brian designed a game. What's coming up?
I don't know. It looks like the game that he designed.
No, it's not. That one's not it. But this is so weird. It's going to be frustrating tonight. We're just going to have to deal with it.
Oh, that's me.
Now, look at John Finkel. Look how different he looks. Have you
His
seen him
red
lately?
hair. Not lately, no.
He does not look like that. He's a skinny guy with short brown hair now.
Well, that red hair is not the way I normally remember him. He had it dyed for that tournament.
You were locked in that game. I just watched the game again, the third game, and you guys were really going toe to toe. I mean, you were feeling the pressure a little bit.
Oh yeah, I was feeling it. What the third game is? The third game, did I win or lose that game?
I think you lost 3-1. So this is the fourth game, I think.
Oh yeah, that game sucked.
Yeah.
I hated that game.
He got out a bunch of big creatures early, and you were just kind of playing defense. And I think you were trying to combo. I don't remember what the combo was because this was, oh my God, this was 96 or 99, something like that. It was a while back. So that was there was another one there. Let me see if I can get it back up. There you are. I mean, you are studying the combinations.
Okay, so I'm not as good looking as I made out to be, but you know.
I think you and I both had a lot more hair back in the 90s. I know I did. Wow. Yeah, that's why I've got this on. So yeah, Magic left for me. I got past the Dark, and then the next one was so bad. Forgotten Realms? No, not Forgotten Realms. That's D&D. God, Fallen Empires. Fallen Empires. Yeah. So bad.
Everyone hated that one.
The entire town, we just dropped it out. And by that time we started having kids and everything. Oh, look, there is Brian. Yes, Brian. I was trying to tell a story when Facebook decided to screw up. So I was watching. Brian's got a game, and we're going to be talking about it next week, about another game. But we've been playing a lot of his game. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting it now. I'm sorry, Brian. Facebook's got me discombobulated right now. But his game is a fishing game. And, Brian, now that you're on, this is going to be hard to tell the story. But when his very first game was coming out, Brian, you said that you can't wait for it to come out because you were going to sleep with it in your bed. So, Dom, do you remember the first time? Okay, you start up Northstar Games.
The first time I slept with a game?
Exactly. The first time that your game got published, you saw your name in print. You had the hard copies of this thing that you had spent so many summers. I mean, from the interviews that I've read, you've actually wanted to be a game designer for many, many years, even going back to childhood. I
was designing games in my childhood. When I actually decided to make the plunge, I had been thinking about starting a game company in high school. Yeah, that's true.
I remember being in high school and even younger designing games. I just never got to that point after that. But you did. What was it like to finally get that cardboard with your name on it? And you've got, you can hold it. Did you want to sleep with it like Brian did at night?
So I barely remember Cluzzle. What I remember more is Wits and Wages getting into Target. Right. That's when I wanted to sleep with the Target buyer.
Okay. I'll go with that.
That's the memory that I really have, is going into just the local Target, walking down the aisle, and I knew it was going to be there, but I hadn't seen it yet. And then just like, oh my God, my game is right there at Target and nationwide. I mean, in Targets all the way across the world.
Yeah, we saw it everywhere.
US and Canada, yeah. So that's the big moment that I remember, and I took pictures, and that was the moment of feeling really proud. And then also, seeing stand-up stands in Barnes and Noble. I think in like national distribution is the moment I remember more. The very first product, Cluzzle, I mean, it's kind of a horrible story. I printed the game in like 4 different printers, pencils from this company, everything. There were about 12 different manufacturing companies that I sourced it from. And then it all got sent to my apartment, and my roommate was a saint. And we had boxes all through our room. And so I don't know, when that got put together, I don't think it felt quite as official as someone else publishing a game and your name being on there. It was just like, yeah, well, I did it. And then I got my friends for pizza and beer to come and help assemble it. And it wasn't that same feeling, I think.
Well, I do remember buying Wits and Wages early on. So many people, especially the Dice Tower, had talked about, Wits and Wages being their favorite party game. And then I was turning around. I just shopping one day at Target. And I turn around and I see clubs there, and I see your name on it. I'm going, oh my God, he's got 2 games at Target now. No.
That Clubs was in Barnes & Noble. It was in Myers. It's been in a couple places. It's never been at Target.
Oh, it wasn't at Target.
Say Anything. Wits and Wagers, Say Anything, and Evolution. I've had 3 SKUs at Target.
Okay.
Evolution in the beginning. And
so I guess I saw Clubs somewhere else. Yeah, I saw Clubs at Barnes & Noble probably is where it was. Yeah. So it's just weird seeing your name, more often than, just that one game. And there's a lot of designers that never get past that first game. So you've had some thrilling moments.
Yeah. I've gotten lucky.
So, BJ from Board Game Gumbo, I've got my guest here, Dominic Crapuchettes from Northstar Games. Have you played any spicy games lately? What's the best game that you've played over the last couple of months?
Spicy, like Jambalaya spicy,
like Jambalaya spicy. Don't forget, it's Mardi Gras. I've got my purple on today, man. Purple and gold.
Oh, no, I think I have my Evolution on.
Okay, that's okay. Show it off. There it is. Yeah. What's the spiciest game you played recently?
All right, besides Oceans, which clearly I'm playing all the time, Clash of Rage.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Tell us about the game.
So I love it because I'm playing it with my son, and it's my son's favorite game ever, though we've only played it twice. But it is a dudes on a map game. It's got miniatures, and it just ticks off all the buttons of like dudes on a map. My son, I've tried to get my son to articulate, why do you love this so much? And it's like, there's these armies and you move them and they're on a map, and then you get the crystals, and then you get these upgrades, and the upgrades are super powerful. You get these legendary upgrades, and it's a big, huge $120 game, or 120 euros at least. And the map's big, everything's big. I mean, he just loves it. And I love it too. It's a
What's the setting?
The setting is fantasy. And the elves have been oppressing the land, and now there's some chink in their armor. I forget, the grand elf died or something, and so there are all these other factions that are now trying to take over the elves and claim their lands back and claim supremacy.
And you guys are thinking about publishing it under the Northstar banner?
Yeah, we're thinking of Quacks. Yeah.
Yep. Quacks has been, I would say, a hit, but no one can find it. I mean, man, we're down here in Louisiana. It is so scarce. No, in fact, I don't know anybody that owns it down here. And I know that a couple of people, my friends at Punchboard Media, they've all played it. I've yet to get a chance to play it.
We did a pretty large print run, and it just sold out instantly. I mean, from our warehouses, it went out to distributors pretty much instantly, and we were just basically out. And so we started up a new print run, but it's going to take a couple months.
I have a theory, man. I have a theory that Wolfgang Warsch. Have you ever seen the movie Crossroads? Do you know the story of Johnson? He was the blues guitarist that allegedly, he disappeared.
Made a pact with the devil.
Exactly. I'm 18 months ago. I don't know the name Wolfgang Warsch. 18 months later, he's got 5 games in the top list of Board Game Geek. He's selling out everywhere. Northstar Games can't even print enough for the American edition of Quacks and Quedlinburg. Man, how did this guy do it?
Wow. Crazy. Yeah.
There's Steph checking in. She says, so good. Yeah, I know.
Steph. Steph.
I haven't played it yet, Steph. I'd love to play it. Hey, before we get on,
The Mind. Let me say that. Another game that I love. The Mind. I can play with my family. I played it with that girl.
Steph's not a big fan of The Mind, as you know.
Yeah, she's not.
No, she's played it.
Not enough rainbows.
She may be the world's biggest fan. Yeah, Sean, I know. Rub it in. He's got Quacks. Great. Everyone else is playing Quacks except me. I'd love to play it. I am dying to try it out. So it looks right up my alley. There was a question that Dan had. Dan's also from that Gateway group, and he says, "Hello, Dominic. I own Wits and Wages Party Edition, which I own also. Is there any way for me to purchase additional trivia cards?"
Yeah, totally, Dan. If you go to our website, we sell every single question pack that comes in our game. So there's yellow box, red box, and blue box. So Wits and Wagers Family, Wits and Wagers Party Edition, and just the original Wits and Wagers. And all 3 of those question packs are available on our website. That's www.northstargames.com. Hey, thought you would be celebrating.
Yeah, there's Miklos. He says, I thought you'd be celebrating Mardi Gras somewhere in New Orleans. Folks here in Houston are. I was just in New Orleans this weekend, Miklos, and I'm taking it easy here on Tuesday. I can't think of anything I'd rather do than talking board games on a Tuesday night here on Gumbo Live, right? That's right, man. Lots of fans of Quacks. Oh, wow. Verla says, love Quacks. Love. Oh, look at all these things. Here's another one. Looking forward to the expansion. Are you guys going to be publishing the expansion?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. We're publishing the expansion. Should be out at Gen Con. That's our goal.
Any hints on when the English version of the expansion will be available?
Gen Con.
Oh, okay.
I think. I mean, that's the goal, is Gen Con. And so the release would be just shortly after, so probably early August.
Okay, thank you for covering me, Marshall. Thank you. Louisiana is often behind in trends, but it's okay. We have the best food. We eat great. Now, Marshall, we are going to suffer, though, over the next 6 weeks or so for Lent, though, Dominic. Because we're Catholic down here in Louisiana. We can't eat meat, so we're going to have to eat crawfish étouffée and fried oyster po' boys and catfish coubillon or catfish bridge. Oh, man, some alligator boudin. God, we're going to really struggle over the next 6 weeks. Okay. Maybe Lynn is not as bad as it is for other people around there. Steph says, I think everyone needs to know more about Paint the Roses.
I don't have it. Such a good plug. So we have another great game in the pipeline, Paint the Roses, designed by our graphic designer, who's actually one of the designers of Oceans. Okay. And it is a cooperative deduction game. Ooh. Where we are all the gardeners, and we're trying to figure out how the Queen wants us to decorate the rose garden. If you remember the story, they're quickly painting the white roses red because she changes her mind. And so it's got a really cool mechanic where everyone has a little bit of information of one of the Queen's whims. And as soon as you figure out what the Queen really likes and you start decorating the garden that way, she changes her opinion and wants something different. And so her real goal is to chop off your head, and she's wanting you to not figure out what her whims are so she can chop off your head, and you're trying to stay ahead of the Queen.
And that is coming out.
It's fully designed, and we just need to figure out when we're going to launch it. So we actually have 3 fully designed games in-house right now. Oceans is coming out next month. Paint the Roses and Super Wits, which is a mashup of Wits and Wagers and strategy. Have you played Wits and? Yeah, you've got Wits and Wagers Party.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be the next version of Wits and Wagers. It is a team game, heroes versus the villains, and it's a party strategy mashup. So everyone is a superhero or a supervillain, and they have. Anyways, I don't know why I'm plugging this other game, but we have 3 games that are totally designed. Graphics are mostly done. We've had it designed for basically 2 years now. And they just sit in our queue waiting for it to, us to catch up with being able to launch it.
The reason is it's a live show. It's a fast moving train, man. We just got to get on and hold on as best as we can. So Verla says, Paint the Roses sounds cool. First time I'm hearing of it. BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guest Dominic Crapuchettes from Northstar Games. Hey, Dominic, the spiciest game I've been playing lately is a game called Pioneers from Queen Games. Have you played it?
No, never. I actually never heard of it.
So, Queen Games has a kind of a hit or miss reputation. Some of the games are great. Some of them are not. This one, I got to say, one of my favorite not small box. It's a normal size, queen size box, but one of those 1 hour wonders. You know that term, the 1 hour power, those kind of games. A game that's Ticket to Ride ish, but that next level. It's not going to be Ticket to Ride at all. It's more in depth than that. In fact, when I laid it out for a Gumbo game night on Wednesday night, one of the players was like, "This looks just like Ticket to Ride," and he's not interested because he wants to play something deeper. The next table they were playing Evolution, and he's just staring at the other table, going, "I picked the wrong table." I don't own Evolution, so I didn't get a chance to play it. I'm mad because they set it up after I started Pioneers, because I would have jumped onto that table. But anyway. Pioneers,
download the free Evolution app.
Okay.
Go through the tutorial at for free. You can go through the tutorial, half the campaign, and play 1 online game a day. And we're giving away this. I didn't mean for this to be a plug, but it just is. Yeah. We're giving away 10 free copies of the board game every single day for 100 days. So 1,000 copies of Evolution are being given away for this launch. It started a couple weeks ago, so there's still maybe 900 games that they're giving away. All you have to do is play 1 online game and you will be entered for that day's raffle. And
Wow.
on iOS and Android, it's free. So
Chat
there's
crew.
no reason. So check it out, and that's your ticket to figuring out how to play this game and seeing whether you like it.
Chat crew, he's basically giving you evolution right here from being on the show. What a guest. We need to have Dom on every week. So back to Pioneers real quick. It's sort of Ticket to Ride-ish, but as Steph, I know who says she recommends it, and she says, I didn't remember that. Sean says it came with Stefan Feld's Merlin Kickstarter. I do remember the Kickstarter. I just don't remember. They've got these, they've got these weird Kickstarters with Queen where it's a Kickstarter and the delivery date is like 30 days later. So the game's already ready. It's like it's already been produced. It's really just a pre-order. But what I did like about Pioneers is I like the route building. I like those kind of games, but it's got that little bit of extra spiciness to it. Everyone starts up in the northeast, and they're spreading out their pioneers all across America back in the early days. Each one of those pioneers that you see on the picture there, each one of them has a special, different power. So you're not only trying to plan out your route, but you're also trying to hit the right pioneers who are going to give you those extra benefits. They can be more money. They could be more actions. They could be laying out more pioneers. And the flip twist of this game is that it's not the route that you build. It's the number of pioneers that you drop off on the contiguous route. So it always blows people's mind in the second half because they keep thinking, "Oh, I'm just laying out trains like I would in Ticket to Ride." And it's not that. It's trying to maximize the powers of each of those little pioneer tiles so that you can score big at the end. And that is Pioneers from Queen Games. If anybody had played it, it's one that's kind of undiscovered. It went under the radar, and I think it was a really good release if you get a chance.
Very cool.
Sounds interesting, Dominic?
Yeah, sounds interesting. I'm actually looking it up on BTG right now.
All right, good. BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guest Dominic Crapuchettes from Northstar Games. Hey, you guys have the next step in the Evolution game coming out. It's a standalone game, you said, not a direct expansion. It's a standalone game called Oceans, and I'm really intrigued by this. I got to watch the Gumbo guys next to me playing Evolution, which is by all accounts is a great game. But I have to say, I'm impressed with the art that I'm seeing from this Ocean game. So tell me a little bit about Oceans and how it's going to fit in the Evolution universe.
So it's a standalone game in the Evolution series. And all that means is it's just a game. The Evolution series is I would say kind of unique. It's an engine building game where you have to change your engine to adapt to the changing ecosystem. So as players adapt their species, it changes the ecosystem and really changes what you should be doing. So there's a mix of long-term strategy and tactics. And you really cannot decide ahead of time. There's no this is the best combo. It's the best combo right now, and then there's always a combo that can take it down. And you're trying to stay one step ahead of people as you adapt to the changing environment. So it's that same concept. I'm going to actually differentiate it from other Evolution type games. Often what people have done is made basically a war game with area control. So kind of a dudes on a map with an Evolution theme. And that's not the way that scientists look at ecosystems. Okay. And so there's no actually ultimate let me just go on one more way that people have done it is with a tech tree, and you keep advancing. And biologists say there's really no ultimate, there's no technology. So there's a technology that's better than the previous technology, and it's just flat out better. But biologists would say that species are well adapted now for this current environment, and that environment is just changing and changing and changing and changing. And so, so this kind of models the way ecosystems can change in a way. You could have this ultimate species at one point in the game, not able to survive at a later point in the game. And so we're using that same sort of system to look at oceanic systems. And
so people that like Evolution are going to be familiar with the ocean system?
So familiar, but it's very different. So we've had a lot of people say, well, which one should I get? And anyone who's played, we opened up the playtesting. We actually had 1,300 and plus people sign up to do outside playtesting. Yeah. And so we've had a lot of comments. And basically everyone says, no, it's a different game. I mean, it's, nice. That is the back of the box.
Ooh.
And it's going to have a title treatment to Oceans. And those tentacles are going to be wrapping around to the front of the box.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Trying to grab the whatever's in the front, right?
The filter feeder in the front. Yeah, and if you look, those are filter feeders in the back that he's grabbing.
Wow.
So
I'm telling you, people, I really like the art that I've been seeing in this game.
So these are the deep. So there's two sides to the game. There's the surface, which is like the known scientific world, which is mostly the surface of the ocean, of the oceanic ecosystems. Then there's a deck, and there's only 12 traits there. And it's supposed to ease you into understanding. There's a familiarity to the game that you get really quickly because these same 12 traits come up. And they were chosen because they have tons of great, interesting synergies. Then there's a deck of 100 unique traits in the deep. And that's supposed to instill that sense of wonder that you have when you learn about like a new cutting edge scientific thing, which you're like, that is too crazy to be believed. Like, I can't believe this is real. And so that drives like that long-term sense of discovery, where you'll get these power cards that help shape the ecosystems, but they're being introduced slowly into the game, and you won't see all 100 cards until you've played the game, I don't know, 50 times.
Wow. So lots of replayability in this game. Now, the deep, is that part of the base game, or is that going to be, no, it's part of the base game?
Just one game, Oceans, with the known scientific world and the yet to be discovered scientific world. Yeah.
And so you are not the only designer on this one, is that right?
No,
Okay.
This has been a huge project. Biggest project we've ever done in Northstar Games by a long shot.
Some of this art is just crazy fantastic. Throw some shout outs. Who we're looking at? Who's doing this art?
Guillaume, I think maybe did that one, but I can't say I remember all of the names. Guillaume did the Kraken, which will be on the back. Catherine Hamilton did all the surface traits. So the reef that you showed earlier, all the really beautiful watercolors. I mean, she literally paints in watercolor and then scans it.
Wow. Yeah, you can tell that some of these are just fantastic. Hey, Kirk is checking in. He says the original Evolution game has been next up in one of my game groups for about 2 months, but he's been on the road. So he actually lives overseas and teaches over there, but he's been back in the States for a while. So he actually missed out on Evolution. So Kirk, any advice for from Dom so that he can win when he gets back?
Yes, you just like real quick, don't go carnivore in the first 2 rounds, first 3 rounds. So this is not a game where you're trying to like kill the other people. This is a game where you're trying to eat the most food, to have the largest population. And an early carnivore is highly discouraged by just the strategy of the game, which was on purpose because I don't want it to be real take that and cutthroat early. But I would say adapt to the changing circumstances and don't go carnivore early would be the key elements.
Don't go carnivore early. So I'm hoping to play it Wednesday night if Adam will bring it. And sometimes Adam checks in. So hopefully Adam didn't hear that part if he hasn't been listening. So tell me a little bit about the art. Are any of these fantastical creatures, or these are all actual ocean creatures from the deep?
The deep ranges from what would be scientific all the way into crazy fantasy.
Okay.
This is the first foray of the Evolution series into fantasy. And it's I would say that deck is probably 20% pure fantasy and 80% and 20% scientific, and then everything else is just kind of a mix of the two. I mean, when you actually study some of the science that's out there, it's just crazy what actually exists. From like cavitation claw, where they actually hit the water so quickly that like I think they make it really hot and it burns a hole and it shoots it evaporates water and shoots. Like there's some crabs do that. Lobsters don't age. I don't know if you know this.
No, I didn't know that.
They literally do not age because they have aging is like something that takes place when DNA replicates. And I forget why there's something which lobsters don't have. And they die because they just keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. And they literally, their body skeleton cannot support their weight.
Wow.
But they actually don't die of old age. And so there's just lots of cool scientific things that we then accentuate and sometimes take straight into just fantasy.
So some of it is represented, but some of it is fantastical. But some of the stuff that you sent me today represents some of the latest, greatest art that you've been seeing, right? What are we looking at here in this picture? You
are looking at the back of the deep cards, which Ben just made today. And then I think you also have the back of the surface cards. So there's 2 decks of cards. Yeah, and we're only seeing part of it, so we're not seeing
now the audience is seeing the whole thing. So they've got a solo shot right now. That's right.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah. So
what are the little symbols on the back that just represents the type of deck?
That's the ocean. So that's the ocean logo that you'd see on the cover of the box. That's the O from Oceans.
I got it.
So that's our logo. And so one of the reasons I love this game is it's very easy to get into. So you can play the game with just the 12 traits and become familiar. And there's a really fantastic 2-player game and multiplayer game just with those traits.
Really?
Then we have, so Nick Bentley architected the architecture of the game, and he created like the game structure. And he is a phenomenal 2-player abstract designer. I mean, in fact, he's very well known in that space. And so it's an extremely good 2-player game, but it's also, and then I'm a multiplayer, I took it and developed the traits to make sure that they would scale. So nothing would break when you brought in 3 players, 4 players, 5 players, 6 players. And you can play with that core. Then you can add in the ocean scenarios, which is 2 scenario cards. And we have 24 scenario cards that completely like just break the structure of the game and change anything that you learned one game about like really cool combos. We'll just change whether those are powerful or not powerful for the next game. And then the deep, which you can draw 1 card a turn and play unlimited actions with. You have to actually pay for those cards. So the surface traits are free, but the ocean traits are power cards. And so you're actually paying points that you've earned to put these things out. And you'll probably only see, I'm going to guess 5 cards during the game.
From the deep?
From the deep, yeah.
And how many are there?
100.
Wow.
100 unique. Yeah.
Tons of players. And all unique
awesome.
art? No, there's no way there's on all 100 cards?
This is the biggest project that we have ever embarked on. Balancing them all, putting the theme to them all, making the structure of the game so you can literally play it modularly and each module works and is a fantastic game. Yeah.
Jamie Stegmaier has been talking about how, without going into details, about how expensive it was to do 150 or 170 or 180, whatever it is, different birds, a different art on every single card, and you're replicating that with the deep, basically. And this is real. I mean, this is real art. This is people painting, being scanned in, and wow, big project.
We didn't mess around. We went with some really cool artists and we paid a lot of money. Yes, we spent a lot of money.
So who is this geared for?
I would say, so in terms of the rules structure, so one of my really big pet peeves, so I love heavy games. People often think of me as like a party game designer, but I mean, I played pro Magic for a long time. I love heavy strategy games. I love party games. I love all the different experiences.
Sure.
This game, the rules are very simple to teach. And that's my goal, is to bring in as many people as possible into this world that I love, that Magic kind of opened my eyes to, which is all these cool, interesting card combos and how they interact and the synergies that they create. One, giving that a theme that's not just Magic, like, oh, it's Magic, that's how it works. So literally trying to make this thematic. And we've learned a lot about the system because we've been working in it since 2012 or 13 when I first played the Evolution game that we based Evolution off of. And so we've made it very smooth. And I would say the biggest complaint with Evolution is a new player. There's a lot of skill packed into it, and it's deceptively simple. So a new player doesn't really get all of the tools they have to play in this dynamic ecosystem. And sometimes they just get picked on, and someone will just kill them and kill them and kill them. And so that first experience can be painful if you were on that end of it. And so I'd say that's the biggest complaint with Evolution, and we really smoothed that out. We tried to make it so that there's still in fact, there's probably more interactivity in terms of being able to attack other players, but it's less punitive. So when you get attacked, so you should view your species as there's a source of food in the reef, and then every species that I introduce is really a source of food for some species out there.
Okay.
And they're not really yours until you bag the population and put them in your bag. And at the end of each one of your turns, old age kind of just slowly takes away one population from every one of your species. And then if they're at 0 population, they go extinct. So the game has a really nice kind of slight pressure where you're puzzling it out and trying to figure out how to stay alive. And part of the pressure is old age that the game provides. And part of the pressure is just other species in the ecosystem feeding off of your species.
Yeah, it's weird. So most of what you're talking about, that you come from that Magic background, as you said, where it's comboliciousness, it's trying to tag 2 cards against each other, or looking at what the board state is and affecting what's going to happen a couple of cards down. Yet everything you've described has all been thematic. It's the mechanisms all play into thematic. And all the interviews I've seen with you, it seems like that's the big thing. That's the big focus, not for the party games, but for the other games that Northstar is going to produce. That's what you want to be known for?
Yeah, I would say so. This is what I feel. I feel like there are so many amazing games out there, so many amazing game designers. The products that they're putting out are phenomenal.
Right.
And so I feel like it's on us as game designers now to just keep trying to take it to the next level. And I feel like learning from the Euro world how to make a really clean mechanics that are easy to teach with really fascinating gameplay, and then learning from what people maybe call the Ameritrash world or Dungeons and Dragons or storytelling, and how to create like a really good theme. Maybe not so much story, but theme. That's
an experience.
Yeah. And then merging them together and try. So they're kind of contrary. The more abstract you get, the simpler it is to teach, but the harder it is to communicate story. And so when you try to merge these two, really, you're just taking kind of exponentially longer to design the game, because you have to throw out a rule that was a fascinating mechanic or a really cool theme, but wasn't balanced, or a fascinating mechanic that didn't come through with a theme. And so you just throw out a lot and just keep polishing and keep refining. And this game has been refined by 2 people for, I think, over a year, and then in-house now for well over a year, because I actually worked quite a bit with their design on the early stages. So it's just keeps getting refined.
Yeah. So I was listening to the podcast today, Sean and Alex from the Dukes of Dice, and Sean said, midweight Euros are a dime a dozen now. I need the mechanisms to speak to me from a thematic level, and you got to have amazing production. I mean, you would agree, right? You got to have amazing production now if you're really going to stand out on the shelves with 1,500 games coming out at Essen. To get above the noise, you got to look good, and you're doing that. But I still think for that game to come back on the table over and over, it has to be to attract the Euro players that are listening to the show. To attract us, it's got to not only be visually appealing, it's got to not only be mechanically interesting to us, but there's got to be some kind of thematic story that's going on if we really want to just keep bringing it back to the table. Now, some games are just so good that it doesn't really matter at that aspect, but boy, that's like hitting a home run. I mean, you got to hit a home run to do that. What I loved hearing on all the description that you talked about, everything was all the thematics tying into the mechanism. So kudos on that one.
I would say one other thing, which I feel like, if I'm going to be remembered for something, I spend so much time working on the teaching experience or the learning experience. You get these rules thrown at you, and how do you make that process? So I love the heavy game experience, but it's really hard to bring that to people. I can't bring it to my wife. I can't bring it to my parents. And I always just feel like, well, God, if you keep working at it, can't you make that process as simple as possible to bring people into like a real full immersive hobby strategy game? And so that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, that's what I try to do with our party games too, but it's just a different animal. The rules are so simple. There's a different way to approach it.
Yeah. And one of the things I love about your party games is that whenever I bring them to a group that's never played games before, a couple of years ago, I convinced my scout troop dads to start playing board games. And the very first game I brought out was Wits Wages the party edition with I had the neoprene mat that I got in a Dice Tower Con from Bruce, and I threw it out there. And of course, they're expecting your typical target party game with it's a couple of rules, and I throw this out, and I said it's a trivia game, and they're all going, "Oh, Trivial Pursuit. We're going to throw out a question, and it won't be my turn for 30 minutes, right?"
Oh,
no.
yeah. Oh.
Wits and Wages, everybody involved right from the start. Rules that you can explain in under a minute. Maybe three focused rules. I mean, your rule set is really one page when you really think about it. So I love that experience. But boy, if you could bring that to the Euro side, where and maybe that's why I gravitate toward the Spiel des Jahres type games, because in general those games are relatively easy to teach. It's in Germany, the grandmother is expected to play with a 10-year-old, even though the game has a lot of depth. I mean, the Spiel des Jahres winners have depth. They're just, games that are accessible to family. They don't have to be easy. They just have to be accessible, but still give me that depth. And that's the kind of game. If you can keep pushing toward that, Dominic, you'll be a genius, man.
So do you mean the Spiel des Jahres, or what about the expert? Like, this is
the
definitely
Kinderspiel's
not
different. Yeah.
This is not the Spiel des Jahres.
No.
This could be considered for the Kinderspiel. I mean, it's probably heavier.
Kinderspiel, yeah.
It's probably heavier than the expert category, but with the onboarding process being so streamlined and simple, maybe.
I did my show prep. I know that one of the things you've done with your company is that you have a goal, and I'll let people talk about that because it's out there on the internet. I thought you did a fantastic job of explaining this. I don't want to go into all the detail, but I loved how you had a goal as the Spiel des Jahres is something that we're going to strive for. And the reason is, if you're shooting for that level, just getting to that level, whether you win or not, is not the key. The key is that you've made the games that are attractive. The problem is you've probably noticed that over the last 7 or 8 years, the Kinderspiel is now what we used to think of the Spiel des Jahres, and the Spiel des Jahres is even lighter. I mean, the jury is really going lighter and lighter when it comes to games, right?
For the Spiel des Jahres, yeah. I mean, the jury's gone up and down. It started off light, and they were even closer to kid games back in the 70s, and then it got really heavy in the 90s, with El Grande and Settlers of Catan.
That's been a long time, though. I mean, even the Kinderspiel games aren't that heavy as in when we think of heavy games. I would almost argue that the Portuguese award, I always forget how to say it, the Juego, I always forget the name of the award, that one is almost really the heavy game of the year award, because the Kinderspiel is not really, and they say, when they translate it, the German jury, they say it's not supposed to be heavy game. It's supposed to be a connoisseur or maybe expert, but not really. They don't really define it that well.
Well, I think the heavy games, the games now for the connoisseur, are like the heavy games from before. They're Settlers, El Grande. I mean, I think Quacks, there's the number of rules, and maybe it's slightly lighter, but barely. I mean, we've had Seven Wonders. Did Dominion win that? Seven Wonders, Dominion, Quacks. I forget what some of the other ones are. I feel like that's in the same ballpark as Settlers, El Grande, and some of the heavier games there.
They're not Vital Lacerda games.
No, but the hobby's just grown so much. So with the hobby growing so much, the number of people playing the heavy games that can play, like, Agricola was, I think, the first one that I encountered that just blew up.
Right.
Like Puerto Rico was huge back when, I was just freshly into the hobby for a couple of years. But even that type of huge, I think it had only sold 25,000 copies in the US over the first 10 years or something, which is not the kind of huge that you can get now with games that are heavier.
Right.
So, I mean, the market has just exploded. So
the Jogo de Ano, that's the word I was trying to think of, the Portuguese game of the year. So Johnny Pack says, Amero is a term I recently heard for the hybrid of Euro and Ameritrash. I like Amerithrash, but I hadn't heard of Amero before. That's kind of neat. Creating experiences seems to trump the theme versus mechanics debate. Yeah, creating experience. And that's what you're looking for, right, Dominic?
Oh God, yeah. So I mean, the artistry of it is the experience that you're gonna take away. And sometimes that experience is very contemplative, and sometimes it's very like socially interactive. I mean, there's so many experiences you can create with this within our little world.
Dominic, is Kirk right? He loves the educational aspect of the game. This could work well with my students. If so, that's the high school I want to go to, where we're playing Oceans.
Hey, evolution is being used in the evolutionary biology department at the University of Oxford. And I would say we get contacted about once a week from people using it in their classes. So evolution gets used all over the place. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I've got my guest here, Dominic Crapuchettes from Northstar Games. We've been talking about oceans, but you know this is a board game show, Dominic. That means we have to play a game.
Oh, I didn't know that. Nice. All right.
So we're going to play a game tonight. Steve O'Rourke, the producer of the show, has been working all week to do some for our little game. We call it the Jambalaya Game. And basically what it is, it's a board game mashup. We're going to take a mashup of games out there on the net and maybe stuff about your life and smash them together. And then we'll give you a hint, and you're competing against the chat crew. They're going to try to guess it before you do. So we'll see who can get the most right.
Oh God, I'm stressed. Okay.
There's nothing to be stressed out because I'm terrible.
I played. Yeah, I mean, I don't play as many games as I used to. I have kids now and a company, and most of my games are just company games.
Thank God you came on the show. Now you get to play a game. We're gonna rectify that. There's Chris Strain checking in, designer for Asking for Troubles. I don't know if you've ever played Asking for Troubles, but fantastic.
Played it, but I remember it.
Just got back from Mardi Gras in Galveston, Texas. Hey guys, hey, what's up, Chris? So yeah, Steve's got a number of clues. Let's throw out one right now, so that way you can kind of get the feel of it. Sounds good. How about this?
Yeah, let's do it.
If this party game from Northstar turns out to have legs in the marketplace, Jeff Bridges or Sam Elliott might say, and the answer would be,
dude. I don't know.
It's from The Big Lebowski. It would be The Dude Abides.
Abides.
Yeah. All right. So now do you see how it works?
Yes. I'm gonna be horrible at this. Yes. Oh God.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but
no,
Rob
Davio
knocked it out of the park.
That'd be funny. Oh.
Rob knocked it out of the park. And
well,
actually,
you have to know pop culture for this. And I don't watch television. I play board games. Unfortunately, it's on my iPad a lot, but I play games.
Some of Steve's are pop culture, but some of them are not. So, for instance, TC Petty, big Beatles fan. So we went all Beatles in his episode. Rob heard about that. And after the show, he made me stay on. He's like, I want to hear the Beatles one, because I didn't realize Rob's an even bigger Beatles fan. And he got 9 out of 10 right. So he does know his Beatles trivia. All right. So you ready for one? Here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's throw one. Does the UK actually leave the European Union? And if so, Dominic, what form will the Brexit take? Care to bet on how it'll turn out? You can in this new game of international bookmaking from Northstar. I didn't know you guys were about to publish a game about Brexit.
International bookmaking?
It's a scoop here, right here on the Gumbo. Dominic's got a game.
What?
Does the UK actually leave the European Union? If so, what form will the Brexit take? Care to bet on how it will turn out? You can't. Oh, look at this. Jeremy Davis, the ninja. He's swooping in. Brits and Wages.
The Vegas edition?
Brits and Wages. Just Brits and Wages.
Oh, Brits and Wagers.
Actually, no, that is not right. It's Jesse that got it right. Brits and Wagers, not Brits and Wages. I think that was a typo, Ninja. I'm sure that was a typo, but I'll let Steve, because Steve is the producer. I'll let him decide. But sounds like Jesse swooped it from you, Jeremy.
Nice, good. He deserves it. I had no idea what you were looking for.
All right, how about this one? Let's go with this one, an easy one. Frost, Sparrow, Nicholson. They're the stars of this new Northstar game. It's a push your luck game, though. What is the game? What is the game?
Quacks at Quinlanburg?
Frost,
Frost?
Sparrow, and Nicholson. They are the stars of this new push your luck game from Northstar Games.
Jack Frost, Jack Sparrow, and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, what's the common theme with those?
The Jacks of Quinlanburg?
He's got it! 3-pointer! Yes! Nicely done.
Oh, okay. I think I'm starting to catch on to what I'm
Dominic,
doing.
you're so close. You're killing me because you're like right on it. I was like, okay, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. That was smooth. Very nice. Oh, now the chat crew is behind us, so Steve is the judge on whether they swoop in or not. But because I see Verla's getting it there. Oh, and Ninja also got it. The Jacks of Quedlinburg. All right, here we go. Music knowledge. Pat Benatar. She knew that this 2-player game from Reiner Knizia, the good doctor, right, was no place for romantic sentiments. Pat Benatar. She knew that this 2-player game from Reiner Knizia was no place for romantic sentiments. Man, this takes me back to, wow, Mamou Upper Elementary, Mamou High School. Wow. Grand Mamou.
You got me on this. I'm going to guess it has something to do with Fog of Love, and I love rock and roll.
I'll give you a hint. Steve looks at your top games, the games that you like on BGG. So what's a Reiner Knizia game that you like? Think about that. And think Pat Benatar. She knew that this 2-player game from Reiner Knizia was no place for romantic sentiments. Sean, the Jacks of Quickenberg. I gotta John you there, Sean. I know it's autocorrect, but still, the Jacks of Quickenberg. All right,
I have no idea. Lost Cities. I have no idea. I really have no idea.
What's your favorite Dr. Knizia 2-player game?
Well, 2-player Lost Cities. I mean, there's also the one that GMT took and changed a little bit, Shot and Totten, but I forget what the other version is.
That's the one.
I love that one. I can't remember the name right now.
Battle Line.
Battle Line, yeah.
Fog of Love is a battlefield. It's close. Jeremy, you're so close. It's so close. Do you know the song Love is a Battlefield?
Love is a battlefield.
That is it. Yeah. Usually Steve tries to make me sing, but not this time, thank God. Pat Benatar knew that this 2-player game from Reiner Knizia was no place for romantic sentiments. I think I'm going to call it, Steve. If people are close, but I'm not seeing the chat on this one. It is Love is a battle line. Exactly. Love is a battle line. All right. Here we go. Are you ready for the next one?
I don't think so, but let's do it.
It really doesn't matter if you're ready or not. We're going to go right. We're going to push right forward. Can you triangulate where the robber will strike? You'll need sine, cosine, and the robber.
The robber. Like in Settlers?
You'll need sine, cosine, and
tangent. Robbers.
Settlers of
Tangent.
He's so close. Jack Crew, you're going to steal this one. He's so close. He's right on it. He's like tiptoeing around the edge. Take the red pill. Take the red pill, Dominic. Just take the red pill.
I'm blue. I'm blue all the way. So
you'll need sine, cosine, and settlers of. Oh, so close. I could see the wheels turning right now.
God, it sounds like it has to do with math.
Well, you said it. Tangent, right?
Yeah.
Sine, cosine, tangent. And Jesse's got, there's a bunch. Oh, I didn't realize.
Got it. Oh, yeah.
Chad Cruz got it.
This is not my kind of stuff. That's why.
Settlers of Catangent.
Okay.
Steve is, look, you got to understand, Steve is evil. He's evil, man. All right. Awesome. Okay, can I predict something? Can I predict?
Miss the next one? Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to miss the next one because I would have missed
my prediction.
Yeah, my prediction is that you're going to miss those. This is not your fault, though. This is because you and I are probably close to the same age, and we're going to miss this one. Because I didn't listen to this stuff. This new version of a family classic adds a new location named after a 90s rapper, pop star, turned serious actor. Hint. Here's the hint. You're going to have to use his old stage name to make the connection. So here was a guy who was a rapper back then. He had an old name and he changed. But you know what? I'm going to give you a
50 Cent.
What's that? 50 Cent? Yeah. From New Orleans. Yeah. I want you to think family classic. What's the most well-known family classic game of our industry? What's that game?
Family classic game of Like we're talking Hasbro. So we're talking like
No. Hobby board game.
Oh,
at this point,
I'd
it's
say
sold over
Ticket to
4
Ride.
million. Yeah, it's sold over 4 million copies right now. Probably closer to 5 million now. But
Ticket to Ride.
All right, so Ticket to Ride, family classic game, 90s rapper, pop star turned serious actor. But
I don't know any actors or rap stars.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. I thought you'd have.
I'm closer to Beatles. I mean, I know Run DMC. That's and Rapper's Delight. Do you know Rapper's Delight?
Oh yeah. I danced to it at the old youth center many times. Yep, our Saturday night dances, and our Boy Scout sock hops. We used to play that song all the time. Well, Steve, I think we're gonna have to let the chat crew get this one because I know I wouldn't have gotten it. Although I do know the reference. Whenever Steve put the answer in, I was like, oh, I would have got that. But it's a tough one. Okay, so Ticket to Ride. There is a version of Ticket to Ride in Europe. Do you know the official name of it?
Ticket to Ride Europe.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride Markland. Have you played that
Markland one?
Yeah. Does that Markland ring a bell at all? 90s rapper. Ticket to Ride Marky Markland.
Oh, I didn't even know Marky Mark.
Marky Mark.
He was a rapper. I didn't know that.
He was a rapper. His brother was in. Somebody have to help me out. New Kids on the Block. One of those boy bands.
Marky Mark. That's Dirk Diggler, right?
Yeah, he was. Yep.
Yeah, that's where I remember. Yeah.
And produced the show on HBO, the Entourage show. That was his. It was a show about him and his buddies when he was a rapper.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
It was based on his life. All right, this is one. This one you might get because I know I wouldn't have gotten this one. How about this one? Ready? Mash up this team versus team underwater water chase with the famed Unicorn of the Seas, and you have this game.
This is so not me. I did not. My brain doesn't work this way.
You'd be better than me at this game. You're doing much better than I would. Mash up this team versus team underwater water chase with the
underwater water chase.
Yeah. Do you know the famed Unicorn of the Seas? Have you ever heard of that? So it's a animal with the big unicorn in the water.
Oh, the actual animal?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a fantasy animal, right?
Narwhal?
Or is it an actual? Yeah,
narwhal. Actual.
Yeah. All right. So you got that part. Do you know about the big game that came out a couple of years ago? It's 4 versus 4. And
I never played it.
Okay.
Sub Patrol or something like that.
You're close. I'm going to give it to Jeremy. It's Captain Sonarwell. Sonarwell. That's a hard one to say, cool. Steve. That is a hard one to say.
Sonarwell. Okay.
All right. Cool. I think we got one more left.
No. All right.
Let's do it. One left. You ready?
Yeah.
Last one. You got one or two of them already, so you're doing.
I don't think I got any of them, but it's fun.
No, you did. You got which one did you get? You got I can't remember which one it was.
I think you gave it to me. Maybe Jack. Jack Quack.
Yeah, the Quacks. The Quacks of Quedlinburg. You did give that one. All right, here we go. Ready? Here we go. If actually we have 2 left. Are you okay with 2? Can we do 2?
Let's do them. Yeah, let's do it.
Matthias Kramer, you know who that is, right? Matthias Kramer, the board game designer. He explored Scottish culture with this game.
Wait, who?
Matthias Kramer.
I don't know. Oh, Matthias. Oh, yeah. M-A. Yeah.
Kiesling and Kramer. Kiesling and Kramer.
Old school. Okay.
Yeah. Old school.
Okay.
He explored Scottish culture with this game. As if haggis wasn't strange enough to Americans, this game comes with marine mammals who are poisonous for humans to eat.
And I just need to come with I don't know.
All right, so go with the animal. What is the marine mammal that we are not supposed to eat?
Like a pufferfish, marine. I mean,
that's one of them. Yeah. Anything else
that we're not supposed to eat?
Yep. There is a second edition of this game coming out on Kickstarter actually pretty soon, if I remember right, of this particular game. Yeah, and this is going to be another tough one if you don't know a Kramer game.
I don't think I know the Kramer games.
This game comes with marine. All right, marine mammals. All right, so let's think in terms of that marine mammal. I think that'll be the
marine mammal that we're not supposed to eat because maybe like a sea turtle, like we're not like it's illegal.
No, poisonous for humans to eat. Yeah, poisonous for humans to eat.
God,
marine
I don't
animal.
really. Marine mammal.
Oh, so Verla's got the game. Glenmore. Does that give you a hint as to what the animal is? Glenmore.
Glenmore was his game.
Yep.
Oh, cool. I've heard of that. Never played it.
It's not a mammal. It's an animal. Steve's checking. And he checked, and it's not a mammal. It's an animal.
Oh, okay. An underwater animal that we're not supposed to eat, like a pufferfish. I don't really know my poisonous fish.
Glenmore. There it is. Ninja's got it.
Glenmore
eel. Glenmore eel. All right. So I think that's one for Steve. Here's the last one. You ready? If you thwart the will, Dominic, of the other colonial governors while you're building up this particular island, they will be spitting mad, just like this deadly reptile. Thwarting the will of the other colonial governors while building up this particular island, its infrastructure, they will be spitting mad, just like this deadly reptile. You know the game.
Do I?
You've talked about the game on this very show.
On this show. I feel like a spitting cobra, but
Okay, so you got the animal, spitting cobra, right? But what's the game that has colonial governors building up the island infrastructure?
Colonial?
It had just come out when you started playing hobby board
Puerto
games.
Rico. Okay.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Spitting reptiles. Puerto Rico.
Ricobra.
Okay.
Puerto Ricobra.
There it is. Oh, he's got it. Woo. Now that's the way to end, Dominic.
Oh my God, I'm so good at this game. I'm good at this game. Bring me Fickle. I want to play against Finkel.
Yeah, you need to take John right now. Hey, when people zoom through the broadcast, they're going to see you get the first one right and the last one right and go.
And they're going to be like, he is so good at this.
Man,
this
Dominic
is exactly how my brain does not work. That's why I created Wits and Wagers, where you just come up with estimates. This is exactly not how my brain works.
No, exactly right. How many peanut butter and banana sandwiches did Elvis eat in 1 year? No one knows the answer to that.
I know, like 87. I'm going to be within like 10, but I won't go over.
Exactly. That is the beauty of the game. So Verla got it. She said Puerto Ricobra.
Nice.
Right after you, but you do get credit. You do get credit. Hey, I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
Did you put yourself on one of these cards? I have to ask you that.
Yeah. On one of them.
It's the 15 red card. That's got to be you, right?
Yeah, that is me.
That's
that's Satish on the clubs.
Wait, who is that?
Satish, my business partner.
Oh yeah, sure.
So, have you met Satish?
No, but I know that he was your business partner. You talked about it in your interviews when y'all started.
Yeah, exactly.
Satish Patel? No.
Pilla Lamari.
Yeah, Pilla Lamari. Okay.
He would be great at this game.
Would he?
Oh God. He was on Jeopardy and
wow.
Was winning and then bet it all and lost it and then was winning and then bet it all and lost it and then came in second place. And that's Luke. These were 4 people in our company.
That is awesome. I love seeing those things. I love it when game companies put people in there and you can sort of recognize them or people can guess them. That is awesome. I enjoyed finding that. All right, board gamers, that is it for another episode of Gumbo Live. I want to thank my guest, Dominic Crapuchettes of Northstar Games. Hey, how can the people out there reach you as we get ready for this Oceans launch?
Reach me personally. I scour the BGG all the time. That's actually where I hang out the most.
Okay.
I have a Twitter account called @DCrapuchettes. So you can reach out to me there, or that's basically it.
And at Northstar Games.
Yeah, you can reach out at Northstar Games. Bruce, you probably know Bruce. Bruce handles all of our social media. Sure. So that'll go through him. But yeah, you can reach out to me. Yeah,
Bruce is a great guy. I'm hoping to get him on the show next season. So make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo. It helps us to get the word out about all of our upcoming guests and shows. By the way, Brian Surrey, who was in the chat crew earlier, is the designer of Coldwater Crown and Winterborn. I can't believe I forgot Coldwater Crown. I mean, I love that game. I played it like 5 times in the last month. I just drawn a blank, but he's a designer of Coldwater Crown, and he's got a new game coming out. It's out on Kickstarter right now, Winterborn, and he'll be in next Tuesday to talk about it. Any last things? When are we going to see Oceans?
We haven't announced the date, so we'll announce it pretty soon, but it is at the end of this month. So quite soon.
All right. I am BJ from Board Game Gumbo, and until next time, Dominic, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Ah bon, oui, oui. Ah, merci. Thank you so much. Really fun.